Friends, Namaste and welcome to our Sunday edition of Gyan Ganga Word Wisdom on your Pravan Sangha social media platform. And as you know, we do the program every Sunday, 150th episode. As last week, we had the 149th episode on Russia and Ukraine, which was part 2 of our discussion. And I am happy to inform you that we had a combined viewership of 93,619, and the viewership is still going on because our programs are available on YouTube and other channels which you can watch at leisure. So all our past episodes are available on YouTube. You can always go and watch it. Today, after the election results of the 10th of March, where 5 state assemblies went for elections, we have the results all known to you. So today we will be discussing with Dr. Swamy and our team the implications of the 5 state election results on the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. So I have to thank my co-host Professor Arvind Chaturvedi from Delhi and Ramesh Swamy, and our technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Tejas Navalgul, Swaminathan, Ishwar Iyer, Rakesh Gadgi, Ajesh Nair, and Vishal Mehta for their support and cooperation for putting this Sunday program together. So without wasting much time, I will now ask Dr. Swamy, our president of Virat Hindustan Sangam, to please start the discussion on the implication of these election results for 2024 Lok Sabha elections, and then we will have a discussion. A lot of viewers have been requesting to have large part of our discussion in Hindi also, and I am sure Professor Arvind Chaturvedi will do justice to this demand today, and we will start our discussion. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Thank you very much, Jagdish. First of all, I'd like to say that this is election that has attracted the attention of the country because UP has always been a very important state. It's got a large number of MPs in parliament. It's a great one in creating atmosphere in the emergency. The people of Uttar Pradesh even defeated Indira Gandhi and her son, which was never foreseen by anybody. And so, and of course, it's Ram Janmabhoomi, Krishna Janmabhoomi, all the great, many great saints and so on. So Uttar Pradesh is a desire of almost every political party to do well. Of course, you may have noticed that towards the nearer the around the first week of March, I had put out a Twitter saying that in Uttar Pradesh we are going to win, which is something which very few media and so on were saying in the beginning. And the reason I based it on is the analysis, which I'm sure Arvind will give in much greater detail. Broadly speaking, both Adityanath, the Chief Minister, and Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, have contributed to our victory in two different planes. In the case of Adityanath, whatever else he did not do, but he certainly restored law and order as a normal expectation, which is the normal expectation that people have. During the previous tenures, particularly before 2017, the people were, I mean, women in particular, were very upset that they could even not go even to the to toilets without being afraid that they may be kidnapped, they may be raped, and so on and so forth. And real fear. And I think this is where I think whether Arvind agrees or not, he should tell us. But I think the SABHA leader He is a young chap, but unfortunately, he gave so many criminals, well-known criminals, rioters, anti-Hindu people, so on, tickets, and that whole glamour. This is a new fellow has gone. And there was also one other factor I noticed: people who phoned me up or talked to me or met me in Delhi, that they were saying that we gave um, uh, everybody else 2, 3 chances at chief ministership and then only change them. And in the case of Yogi, we have, so far he has only one chance, and he has done on law and order. He has done extremely well, and that was across the board. In case of Modi, all his programs on women and Sauchalya and all these things may look not so romantic in clubs and in public debates, but it's something that touched the women, and women turnout was tremendous. I mean, I think that perhaps in the last 30, 40 years, there hasn't been such a big turnout of women. And they came and voted for us. So these are some of the things that happened. Now, before I hand over to Arvind, let me just say one thing, that BJP has now become a party which has got has won elections and formed state governments in north, east, south, west. It's now emerged as perhaps the only vibrant national party, and that is a great thing. And at the same time, Congress party is vanishing, and the BJP has a distinctive ideology, the ideology on Hindutva. The This ideology is now accepted by a very large majority of the country. So I mean, I think my projection is that BJP is going to last very long. Congress lasted almost from 1952 up till 1977, except a few months here and there of the Samvit Sarkars and so on. But Congress has been ruling for such a long time. And I think now it appears that because the Congress ideology of socialism and Garibi Hatao all has been junked, now people want national unity. They want Virat Hindutva, not necessarily Hindu, but the qualities of Hindus. So these are things which the package which BJP has now established. That and the most important thing is that BJP is not based on any one family or one leader and so on and so forth. And its Karyakartas are come from a variety of Parivar organizations, and particularly the RSS, which has made a very big difference in this election. So I would say that ideologically, there is no alternative to BJP today. And that was so in Congress time also, when there was no alternative to the ideology of their socialism and secularism and so on. And so much so that when BJP was formed, we also adopted socialism. We called it Gandhian socialism, and they perhaps called it Indira Gandhi socialism, but the Congress. But we also said socialism, and of course we were a miserable failure in 1984, and then slowly it got rejected, and Ram Janmabhoomi movement and all changed the focus. So I would say there is today no alternative to BJP ideologically. And I don't think that socialism, secularism, all this is ever going to work for at least 25, 30 years, because people are fed up with it. So it has to be a challenge, but cannot be by wearing Janeo or claiming to wear a Janeo. You can't become Hindutva. It has to be an articulation of a different kind of Hindutva, which will say we are in this, we are different. That unless that challenge comes, I think my opinion is BJP is in for at least another 20 years without difficulty, and I think these elections have established it. I would, however, like to say that the most dangerous aspect of these 5 elections has been the victory of our party in Punjab, because the AAP party has no patriotism at all. I mean, they are all camouflaged. They talk about poor and all that. But I think in Punjab, a party like Aam Party coming to government, I think it's not acceptable. And we have to see how we deal with this so that they don't poison it to the point where Punjab becomes unmanageable. So with these remarks, we'd like to hear our expert, who has been tweeting to us regularly about the numbers. So ask him how he sees this whole election and where it's going to take us. Over to
Before Arvind
Thank you.
Chaturvedi starts, for the benefit of the viewers, I would like to say that Arvind Chaturvedi has been specializing in statistics, and you may not know that in the 1984 Lok Sabha elections, which took place around December in 1984, he had done a special, what was then not known, was an exit poll or a survey which was published. I am sure he will explain to you the background and give you some of the background in our talk today. So it's over to Arvind Chaturvedi, and thank you, Dr. Swamy, for that introductory note. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jagdishji. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Before I give my major observations and the data which I have gathered, let me just comment on what Dr. Swamy said about the ticket distribution by Akhilesh, Samajwadi Party. Dr. Swamy mentioned about the mafias or Bahubalis being given the tickets, but I have seen, in fact, I have observed, contrary to this, Akhilesh tried to avoid giving tickets to mafia in his party, except for 2 cases. One was the son of Mukhtar Ansari. Mukhtar Ansari, the known mafia, he was not given ticket, but his son was given the ticket from the same constituency which Mukhtar Ansari used to contest from jail. That is Mau Sadar, number 1. Number 2, he also gave 1 seat to Nahid Hassan in Kairana. And this Kairana is famous or famously utilized by Yogi Adityanath to say that Palayan, in fact, even 2017, this Palayan, that the migration of Hindus from that constituency was an issue. And Hukum Singh, who was the MP at that time from that area, Muzaffarnagar, he countered that. Then his daughter, Mriganga Singh, was given the ticket in the by-election. She lost. Even in this election, Nahid Hassan was given a ticket from Samajwadi Party and he won. So then otherwise, Akhilesh did not allow Raghuraj Pratap Singh Raja Bhaiya to come near his party, though Raja Bhaiya wanted to come. And his comment was very famous, who is Raja Bhaiya? And Raja Bhaiya, of course, won. Not only he won himself, but he also got 1 more seat. So 2 seats of his party called Jan Satta Party.
One short interruption.
Yes.
You see, there's a saying that Nimbu ka ek boond ghara, the doodh bhara ghara uko kharab kar dega. That whole image of that those two had an impact. That's what he's all about.
Yes, I know. In fact, these 2 candidates, Abbas Ansari and Nahid Hassan, they also made comments during the campaign, which were actually very controversial comments. And Abbas Ansari even said that in my constituency, no officer will be transferred for 6 years after Akhilesh government comes, because first of all, I will take the account of 5 years from these officers, then only they will be allowed to be transferred. I mean, these kind of things, of course. But let me just tell you one more thing before I give my own observation. 63 Muslim candidates were fielded by Akhilesh Samajwadi Party, less than Bahujan Samaj Party and Congress. Bahujan Samaj Party gave tickets to 87 Muslims and Congress gave tickets to 75 Muslims. None of them won, of course. But in Akhilesh's case, Samajwadi Party's case, the strike rate was highest among the Muslim candidates. 31 candidates from his party and 3 candidates from his alliance, That is 34 Muslim MLAs have come in this assembly for the first time, and as compared to last assembly, which was only 25 Muslim MLAs. And strike rate was highest because it was more than 50%, whereas overall striking rate of Akhlesh's party was just about 32%. And the number of candidates fielded as compared to number of candidates succeeded. Okay, that apart. Now I'm coming to the major observations of these elections in 5 states. First of all, it is for the first time we have seen, when we have elections in more than one state, pro-incumbency won. It was always, we used to discuss whether it is media or whether it is experts, the anti-incumbency factor, but this time BJP insisted in the campaign. A large part of the campaign was, since we have done work in Uttarakhand, in Uttar Pradesh, of course they claimed in Goa as well, and Manipur, and in all the 4 states, BJP repeated the performance by winning the majority. Not only that, BJP also increased the vote share. It is very rare. In Uttar Pradesh, for example, it is after 37 years that a sitting chief minister has been voted to power. It's only Narayan Dutt Tiwari in 1987. He was the chief minister and his party won. Of course, he did not last for a full term. He lasted for just 1 year or something. But this Yogi lasted for 5 years. And after 5 years, he's returned with, of course, reduced majority. Last time they had 325 seats with the alliance and 312 seats for the BJP alone. This time, the number of seats have been reduced, but the number of votes have increased. That means percentage of votes has gone up. And of course, if you compare the 2019 Lok Sabha election, the performance is slightly lower. In Lok Sabha elections, BJP touched almost 50% in Uttar Pradesh, and now it is just about 41%, slightly higher than 41%. So the number of votes, percentage of votes as compared to last assembly election is more, but compared to last Lok Sabha election is less. So number one is the pro-incumbency. Then the record of 35 years beaten. And the third is, in this election in all the 5 states, the number of chief ministers and number of ex-chief ministers who have been defeated is highest. Never has been seen in Punjab, for example. Badal, Sukhbir Singh Badal as well as Prakash Singh Badal lost. Channi, who was the sitting chief minister, lost from 2 constituencies. And Amarinder Singh, who was the former chief minister, he also lost. In Goa, 2 former chief ministers lost. Of course, sitting chief minister returned with Pramod Sawant won, but 2 chief. In Uttarakhand, 1 ex-chief minister, Harish Rawat, lost, and 1 sitting chief minister, Dhami, lost, though his party won with even more number of seats. So this is also one very interesting thing. Third is, the people used to relate the turnout with the outcome. This time, the turnout throughout all the 5 states, by and large, was lesser as compared to the previous elections. But this turnout, normally people say, if the turnout is more, it is for a change. And maybe it is established that if the turnout is less, it is to retain that power. People were giving comments about which particular section voted more, which particular section did not come out to vote, and so on and so forth. But overall, now one more thing, very important thing, in fact, Dr. Swamy mentioned about the women, and I have seen across all the 5 states, women voters outnumbered the men voters, all the 5 states. And the difference was significant, even 5 to 6% more in case of women voters. And therefore, maybe one can say that the women voters, when they vote in larger numbers, maybe they vote in favor of the existing incumbent and not to remove the existing incumbent. Then I already mentioned about Bahubalis. Many Bahubalis in Uttar Pradesh lost, and this credit goes to the public of Uttar Pradesh. There are not many Bahubalis in Uttarakhand or Punjab, at least as far as the media is concerned. But UP, whether they were BJP people or whether they were from other parties, Vijay Mishra, who was expelled from BJP in Gyanpur, the Varanasi district, he lost. Malhani, I mean, in fact, this is across the caste also. A Thakur Bahubali or a Brahmin Bahubali or a OBC Bahubali. Bahubalis, except Raghuraj Singh and Abbas Ansari, the others have lost. Yash Badr Singh in Nisoli, he lost. Aman Mani Tripathi, whose father was also Bahubali, Amar Mani Tripathi, of course, father was not there. Aman, his son contested. He is also accused of murders and other things. He lost. So one very important thing is that Bahubalis were given a lesson by the voters. Now, Dr. Swamy mentioned about UP. Let me just say few observations which I have noted with the help of some empirical evidence also. First of all, one very good symptom, or I saw one very silver lining in this voting pattern, was that castes had lesser role to play. In fact, whether the ticket distribution of BJP, Congress, BSP, SP, or any other party in UP or any other state, normally it is done based on caste. And entire media analysis or expert analysis or opinion poll analysis or exit poll analysis, they all relate to the caste. This time, I have noted, and as I said, with empirical evidence, even of the post-poll surveys have shown that caste role has been reduced to a large extent. Let me tell you one example. In Western UP, for example, it was said that Jats are against BJP because of the farmers' movement, and they have forgotten the Muzaffarnagar riots, and therefore Jats and Muslim combination is going to help Samajwadi Party. In fact, first phase, second phase, and to some extent third phase, these are all part of coming from Western UP. Western UP in the first phase and second phase together, where Jats dominated, BJP won 40 seats out of 71 seats. And it was expected. In fact, even media was saying that Jats and Muslim combination will sweep Western UP, and therefore Akhilesh will come back to power, which did not happen. Number one. Number two, one very, very significant pattern this time among the scheduled castes. Bahujan Samaj Party, which even in the case of 2017 or 2019 in the Lok Sabha, they had minimum percentage of votes they used to get is about 20, 21%, 22% votes. This time, Bahujan Samaj Party's vote share was reduced to 11%. Who are these 11% who did not vote Mayawati? Normally, it was said that Mayawati commands the support of the Jatavs, especially Jatavs of Uttar Pradesh. And of course, there were a large number of non-Jatavs also. So both Jatavs and non-Jatavs this time have ditched the Bahujan Samaj Party and voted for BJP as well as SP. Now, let me tell you some statistics from the post-poll surveys which have been done by CSDS. According to this survey, the Jatavs gave only 13% votes to BJP in 17 election, and 5 years BJP got 21% Jatav votes. That is from BSP. And similarly, the BSP, who used to command majority in 2017 election, they had 87% Jatavs vote, and this time it was reduced to 65% only. That means 21 percentage point downfall in Bahujan Samaj Party's votes from the traditional caste base. And what about non-Jatav scheduled caste? Same thing happened in non-Jatav scheduled caste. BJP had only 32% share in 2017 election. After 5 years, this time they got 9% higher. So BJP has got good votes among the scheduled caste voters. That is why the percentage of BJP has gone up. Despite there is a dent in some pockets, but scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, both Jatavs and non-Jatavs, they have. Similarly, OBCs. OBCs, normally people used to say that, Akhilesh is doing a social engineering, and not only Yadavs, but even non-Yadavs like Swami Prasad Maurya came to his party, Dara Singh Chauhan came to his party, Dharampal Saini came to his party. These are all non-Yadav OBCs. So he said Yadav plus these people, now they have come from BJP. So the Yadav and non-Yadav will help Akhilesh reach the power. No, it did not happen. So even Swami Prasad Maurya himself lost. by significant number, I think 14,000 votes or some such thing. So this non-Yadav OBC also BJP has gained. Credit must go to Yogi for consolidation of the votes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. Of course, there's not too many scheduled tribes in Uttar Pradesh, but all kinds of scheduled castes and all kinds of OBCs, including Yadav belt. Yadav belt was the third phase of the UP election. And it was expected that Akhilesh Yadav will sweep. Of course, he himself won by about 65,000 votes in Karhal, Mainpuri, which is not very large number, given the fact that it is dominated by Yadavs. 175,000 Yadavs are there in that constituency, but he won only by 65,000 votes. So as Shivpal Yadav won, he won a large number of Yadav seats, but there was a dent by BJP even in the hotbed of Yadavs, Kannauj, which was represented by Akhilesh's wife Dimple Yadav in Lok Sabha 2 terms. In the Kannauj also, BJP has made a dent and BJP has won. Even the retired the commissioner of Kanpur, Asim Arun, he won from Kannauj. So
Arvindji, just if you can briefly summarize this even in Hindi also, so it will be good for the.
Now मैं बताता हूँ आपको सबसे बड़ी बात, शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, ओबीसी, इनके अतिरिक्त जो बहुत बड़ा लाभ भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मिला, क्योंकि चुनाव के समय ये कहा जा रहा था कि उत्तर प्रदेश में ब्राह्मण योगी जी से नाराज हैं, क्योंकि योगी जी को कहा जा रहा था कि उन्होंने ठाकुरों का बहुत समर्थन किया है और ब्राह्मणों को हर वक्त किसी न किसी बहाने उन्होंने उनको बढ़ाने से रोका है। लेकिन इस चुनाव ने ये भी मिथ साबित कर दिया, ब्राह्मणों में अगर संख्या देखी जाए तो 89% ब्राह्मण, अकॉर्डिंग जो पोस्ट पोल हुआ है चुनाव के बाद, ये चुनाव की मतगणना के पहले हुआ था CSDS का, उन्होंने बताया कि 89%, लगभग 90% ब्राह्मणों ने इस बार योगी को वोट दिया। और चिल्लू पार एक विधानसभा है जहां से ब्राह्मणों के बहुत बड़े नेता हैं, हरिशंकर तिवारी, जो लगातार 7 इलेक्शन से जीतते आ रहे थे। पिछली बार उनके बेटे विनय शंकर तिवारी जीते बहुजन समाज पार्टी की टिकट पे, इस बार चिल्लू पार में भी बीजेपी जीत गई। तो ये जो मिथ बहुत बड़ा क्रिएट हुआ था कि ब्राह्मण भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ हैं, ये भी बहुत बड़ा एक गलत तथ्य साबित हुआ। तो कटिंग अक्रॉस द लाइन, जाति बिल्कुल टूटी है, लेकिन एक बहुत बड़ा फायदा बीजेपी को जो हुआ है जातियों के टूटने से, हिंदुत्व तो एक हुआ है, हिंदू के नाम पे वो एकत्र हुए हैं, कास्ट को उन्होंने, जाति को उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है। और हिंदू को जो एकत्र हुए हैं उसमें मैं आपको अगर आंकड़े दूं तो मेरे पास आंकड़े हैं कि पिछली बार लोग विधानसभा चुनाव में 47% हिंदुओं ने बीजेपी को वोट दिया था, इस बार 54% हिंदुओं ने बीजेपी को वोट दिया। पिछली बार अफकोर्स अखिलेश को भी इसका फायदा हुआ है, क्योंकि बहुजन समाज पार्टी का हिंदू मत टूटा है जाति के टूटने से। तो अखिलेश को जो 18% हिंदू वोट मिला था, इस बार 26% हिंदू वोट मिला है। लेकिन मुस्लिम वोट बीजेपी को जो कहते हैं कभी नहीं मिलता, बीजेपी का मुस्लिम वोट भी इस चुनाव में बढ़ा है। पिछले चुनाव में मुस्लिम वोट 5% मिला था, इस बार 8%, 3% वोट बीजेपी का मुस्लिम में बढ़ा है। और समाजवादी पार्टी का भी बढ़ा है, क्योंकि समाजवादी पार्टी में कंसोलिडेशन था। जैसे हम चुनाव चर्चा के पहले बात कर रहे थे, असदुद्दीन ओवैसी की पार्टी इत्तेहादुल मुसलमीन, पूरा चुनाव उन्होंने मुस्लिम एकता के नाम पे लड़ा, लेकिन मुसलमानों ने उनको नकार दिया। हाँ, ये जरूर है कि मुसलमानों ने बड़ी संख्या में, लगभग 80% मुसलमानों ने समाजवादी पार्टी को वोट दिया, लेकिन बीजेपी के साथ भी 3% मुसलमान इस बार ज्यादा आए। और ये मुसलमान कहां से आए? बहुजन समाज पार्टी से आए। पिछले चुनाव में 19% बहुजन समाज पार्टी के पास गए थे, इस बार 6%, 13% मुसलमान वोट शिफ्ट हुआ है बीएसपी से। और कांग्रेस के पास भी 19% मुसलमान वोट था पिछले चुनाव में, इस बार सिर्फ 3% वोट। जबकि मुस्लिम कैंडिडेट जो थे, कांग्रेस ने 75 कैंडिडेट दिए, 75 कैंडिडेट, और बहुजन समाज पार्टी ने 85 कैंडिडेट दिए, कोई भी कैंडिडेट नहीं जीता। इनफैक्ट 97% कैंडिडेट्स की जमानत जब्त हो गई, 97%। और यही बात असदुद्दीन ओवैसी के मामले में भी है। तो उन्होंने बहुत कैंपेन की मुसलमानों को एक करने के लिए, बहुत बड़ा, मीडिया ने भी काफी उनको उछाला, और ये भी बीजेपी को बताया गया कि डर है शायद मुसलमान वोट अगर बढ़ गया तो समाजवादी पार्टी को लाभ नहीं मिलेगा, बीजेपी को लाभ मिलेगा। जो भी हो, लेकिन फिलहाल बीजेपी का वोट, चाहे वो हिंदूज हों, मुस्लिम्स हों, अनुसूचित जाति हो, ओबीसी हो, ब्राह्मण्स हों, सभी कास्ट में बीजेपी का वोट बेस बढ़ा है। पूरा श्रेय इसका योगी को जाना चाहिए। तीसरी बात जो मैं बताना चाहता हूं वो महिला वोटरों का है। मैंने बताया कि महिला वोटरों की संख्या बहुत बड़ी है, और एक सबसे बड़ी जो महिला के बहाने एक नई कैटेगरी इस चुनाव में देखने को मिली, वो कैटेगरी थी, हिंदी में इसको लाभार्थी कहा गया है। लाभार्थी मतलब बेनिफिशियरीज, दोज पीपल हु वर बेनिफिटेड बाय द स्कीम्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट। एंड विच आर दीज स्कीम्स? किसान सम्मान निधि, जो 6,000 रुपया किसान परिवारों को जा रहा है, किसान सम्मान निधि, और उज्ज्वला निधि, उज्ज्वला योजना जो गैस के सिलेंडर के लिए थी, शौचालय, जो गांव-गांव में, घर-घर में जो शौचालय बनाए गए, ये स्कीम मीडिया ने एक जमाने में कहा था कि नहीं, इतना नहीं हो रहा जितना प्रचार किया जा रहा है, लेकिन चुनाव के नतीजे ये बताते हैं बिल्कुल स्पष्ट तरीके से कि ये जो लाभार्थी वर्ग है, और फिर फ्री राशन, सबसे बड़ा जो था फ्री राशन, 2020 में जब कोरोना का आगमन हुआ 2020 में अप्रैल में, तब फ्री राशन बंटना शुरू हुआ था, और योगी जी ने इसको लगातार बनाए रखा, अभी भी बना हुआ है। और लोग कहते हैं कि उनके घर में 2 थैले मिलते हैं, एक थैला केंद्र सरकार से आता है जिसपे मोदी का फोटो होता है, और दूसरा थैला उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार से आता है जिसका योगी का फोटो है। और जो सबसे बड़ी बात इस चुनाव में एक नारे के रूप में कही गई, MY कहा जाता था कि लालू प्रसाद ने शुरू किया था बिहार में, मुस्लिम और यादव, और MY अखिलेश ने भी अपना लिया, मुस्लिम और यादव। लेकिन यहाँ पे दूसरा MY जो काम कर रहा था वो था मोदी और योगी। ये MY कॉम्बिनेशन अखिलेश के MY कॉम्बिनेशन से आगे हो गया। और तीसरा एक MY कॉम्बिनेशन और था जो प्रियंका वाड्रा लेकर आई थी, वो थी महिला और युवा। तो प्रियंका कहीं नहीं है, 209 रैली उन्होंने की, 209 रैलीज in Uttar Pradesh, and she got only 1 seat. Sorry, 2 seats.
Two. And
2 seats.
And 97% deposit जमानत जब्त।
और रायबरेली में सब हारे, अमेठी में सब हारे। जो एक सीट उनको मिली है वो है प्रमोद तिवारी, जो इनके MP हैं, उनकी बेटी की, आराधना मिश्रा, जो उनकी बेटी है, वो पिछले बार भी जीती थी, इस बार भी जीती है। और एक महाराजगंज गोरखपुर के पास एक जिला है, वहां पे जो सीट है फरेंदा, तो वहां से कांग्रेस इनको सीट मिली है। और जो BSP को अकेली सीट मिली है वो है बलिया जिले से। तो ये 3 सीटों के अलावा सारी सीट बीजेपी और अखिलेश में बढ़ गई। ये एक बहुत बड़ा शुभ लक्षण मान रहा हूँ। एक बात और कह दूं कि इस चुनाव में एक और मोर्चा जो था, जिसके लिए बहुत मीडिया लिख रहा था, ओवैसी ने जो मोर्चा बनाया था, अकेली पार्टी ओवैसी की नहीं थी, एक बहुत पुरानी पार्टी है जो उत्तर प्रदेश में काम कर रही है, मुसलमानों में काम कर रही है, उसका नाम है पीस पार्टी, डॉक्टर मसूद की पीस पार्टी। तो डॉक्टर मसूद और ओवैसी साहब और एक पिछड़े वर्ग के नेता, जो बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट नेता BSP के रहे हैं, बाबू सिंह कुशवाहा, जन अधिकार पार्टी के नाम से, उन्होंने एक मोर्चा बनाया था। उस मोर्चा का नाम था भागीदारी मोर्चा। भागीदारी मोर्चा का स्वाहा हो गया पूरे इलेक्शन में, 0% वोट, कहीं पता ही नहीं चला कि ये वोट कहाँ गया और ये मोर्चा कहाँ गया। तो ये जो महत्वपूर्ण पॉइंट्स हैं, खासतौर से जब मैंने बताया कि मुस्लिम्स में, हिंदूज में, अनुसूचित जातियों में, पिछड़े वर्ग में और दूसरों में जीते हैं, वो एक अब कंट्रीब्यूशन की जहां तक बात आती है, मैंने तो MY के बात बताई थी, मोदी और योगी, लेकिन एक स्टडी अभी हुई है, रिसर्च जिसमें क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च अप्लाई करके बताते हैं कि किसका कंट्रीब्यूशन ज्यादा है। उन्होंने बताया कि उसमें सच्चाई कितनी है और उसके आंकड़े देखने में पता चलेगा। वो कहते हैं कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी का कंट्रीब्यूशन योगी जी के कंट्रीब्यूशन से 3 गुना ज्यादा है। लेकिन मैं इसमें नहीं पढ़ना चाहता, क्योंकि ये पहली बार 37 वर्षों के बाद ये हुआ है कि एक चीफ मिनिस्टर रिटेन हुआ है। तो इसलिए मैं ज्यादातर अपना जो मत है योगी जी के पक्ष में दूंगा। और जैसे डॉक्टर स्वामी ने शुरू के इंट्रोडक्शन में बताया था कि माफिया के खिलाफ और महिलाओं की सुरक्षा के लिए जितना योगी ने किया है, उत्तर प्रदेश उसका कृतज्ञ था। और इसी कारण उत्तर प्रदेश की महिलाओं ने बढ़ चढ़कर चुनाव में भी हिस्सा लिया और भारतीय जनता पार्टी को भी वोट दिया। तो ये बहुत ही स्पष्ट है, अगर हम 2 और 2 आंकड़े मिला लें तो बिल्कुल साफ होता है कि योगी आदित्यनाथ के कंट्रीब्यूशन को किसी भी प्रकार से कम करके नहीं आंकना चाहिए। जो लोगों ने बहुत आरोप लगाए कि वो हिंदू मुस्लिम कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उसका भी फायदा मिला। अगर वो नहीं करते ये सब, तो डॉक्टर स्वामी कई वर्षों से कहते आ रहे हैं और उन्होंने भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं को भी बताया है कि डेवलपमेंट प्लस हिंदुत्व। डॉक्टर स्वामी का कहना अभी तक रहा है कि डेवलपमेंट अलोन इज नॉट इनफ, हिंदुत्व हैज टू कंट्रीब्यूट and then only you can come back to the power. And I think this election of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand both has proved that it is development plus Hindutva, and therefore the credit must go to these 2 major factors. और एक बहुत छोटा सा इशू है, मैं इसको बता के खत्म करूंगा कि जो लोग बात कर रहे थे, कर्नाटक में एक इशू हुआ था चुनाव के दौरान, हिजाब का इशू हुआ था और लोगों ने, अखिलेश ने इस विषय पे बोलना ही बंद कर दिया था जब ये हिजाब लोग पूछते थे। लेकिन इस हिजाब के कारण कंसोलिडेशन ऑफ हिंदुत्व वोट बढ़ा उत्तर प्रदेश में। और चुनाव के पहले 10 फरवरी को पहला फेज शुरू हुआ था और उसके पहले लगभग 3 या 4 फरवरी को ये इशू आया था। तो पिछले चुनाव से प्रारंभ के 1 हफ्ते के अंदर ही कुछ माहौल बदला और इसका लाभ भी बीजेपी को मिला है। ये मेरा मत है इनके आधार पर। जगदीश एंड Ganesh and
I like to
question. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, just one question. हमें ये भी मानना चाहिए कि मैं भी 3 बार लोकसभा जीता हूँ। कितना सिरदर्द होता है कि बूथ में कौन बैठा है, कौन बिक रहा है, ये सब सिरदर्द होती थी। बट बीजेपी को ये संघ का स्वयंसेवकों ने जिस प्रकार से इस बार काम किया और जो मुझे रिपोर्ट मिली है, उनका भी योगदान है। वैसे वो औपचारिक वो कुछ क्रेडिट वेडिट नहीं मान चाहते हैं, परंतु इस सब पार्टीज को जानना चाहिए कि भाई जब तक इस प्रकार की ढांचा आप चुनाव में नहीं करोगे, आपको जीतने की जो संभावना है वो कम हो जाएगी और हो भी सकता है कि हार जाएंगे। एंड देयरफॉर आई एम सेइंग दैट the contribution of the Swayamsevaks also should be recognized, even though we don't want to politicize this because RSS generally avoids politicization. But I would say that they played a major role, and I know that in the eastern districts, in the last 3 rounds, they were in fact critical for our victory.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. Either of you can take it. First question, last time BJP had 312 seats on its own. Now it's 255, down about 60 seats, roughly 57, give or take a few. Even from, that's one, why, what could be the reasons? Number 2, because the voting percentage has not dropped significantly. It was 61, it is 60% now. So even if you look at the number of voters, it's not a significant drop, but they have lost seats. That's one important point. The second point that I wanted to do was even women, Arvindji, from last time it was around 44 or maybe around something less than that or somewhere in that range, 44 to 48%. So there was only a 4% shift or more, a 4% increase in the women vote towards BJP. So do you think these 2 points are very significant to shift? I mean, if the women vote are not voted, obviously I think this will be less than 255. Correct?
Well,
First question is to
Arun,
why was the drop, and what could have been done better in spite of all these positive things that Yogi has done, and
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, please.
No, Arvind is the star of the show, so he should first answer. Then I might
Okay.
add a footnote to what he says.
No, no. Let me just tell you. In fact, for some reasons, I visited Uttar Pradesh thrice during the election force and interacted with people in different places in Uttar Pradesh, so that I can say firsthand the emotions which were seen towards Yogi. And this is what Dr. Swamy also earlier mentioned, that women were scared of going alone after 7 o'clock in Uttar Pradesh before Yogi came to power. And the whether it was special schemes in police stations, special police stations created for women. In every district, one police station was created, and for women exclusively. This is entirely credit to Yogi. And women felt confidence. So even if we say 4% votes were polled extra as compared to the last assembly election, this was only for the safety and security which was provided by Yogi Adityanath.
Okay. And what about the drop? Why the drop?
The overall drop was because of distribution of votes among the many candidates, many parties. In fact, let me tell you, when I'm saying Priyanka Gandhi addressed 209 rallies, मैं लड़की हूं, लड़ सकती हूं, she had put 40% women candidates. She had announced much before the election that she will give the highest number of 100% of seats to women. She did. But even then, she could not attract the women voters. But large number of, as I said, Hindus voted more to Akhilesh. Muslims also voted more to Akhilesh. So in general, since I'm saying cutting across the religion and caste, people voted more to Samajwadi Party. Their share went up by about 12%. So naturally, when we say share went up by 12%, it went up across the gender also.
Now, answering your question, Ramesh. First of all, a minor explanation. I wouldn't call this as a major explanation. A minor explanation is that in the second election, such things do happen. There is a lowering of the vote. But we started with almost everybody saying that Akhilesh is going to win.
Yes,
and the big crowds and all that. That was the mood.
Yes.
And particularly in the middle classes and so on. I know many middle classes saying, we have had enough, the economy has failed, this thing, petrol down, Ultimately, none of that mattered over a period of time. When they saw the khichdi that was there, they said, all said and done, the concept that, as Arvind said, and I'll take that one step forward. The fact is that Yogi did do something. Yogi has no touch of any corruption at all. He is known as a tyagi, and he brought in law and order. And there was this image that if Akhilesh comes to power, law and order will again go back to the old days, because they don't have any reputation. Neither your Samajwadi Party nor any of the associate parties have any reputation for being strict on law and order. On the contrary, they have reduced policemen into chaprasis, personal chaprasis. So so many things then began. And today media is extremely important because it's available in WhatsApp and YouTube and so on. So I think over the time, and I will say that perhaps we should do these seven stages, of polling. Let's see
Yes.
what's the strike rate. I think
Seven.
the strike rate of BJP has increased as we went along
Yes.
with the. So the people then the realization came, and that's how it is now. I would go a step further and say to our party that if you want to continue winning, please keep the Hindutva factor. Just don't say Vikas, it's not enough. But when you say Hindutva, you're uniting the castes and they'll cut across the votes. So therefore, the combination of Yogi looking like a yogi and, and then of course, some of the things that he has done, and that this is his first term, so he should be given a second chance. These sentiments began to operate, and maybe if we had instead of 7 installments of voting, if we had say 14 installments, I think we may have got more seats, because the number of seats were increasing as time went on.
Dr. Swamy, I see there's a question on the screen. You can shift to Punjab. I mean, essentially, you mentioned in the beginning.
I mentioned it.
Reply in Hindi. Yeah. You can reply in Hindi if you don't mind. So
why? Is there a demand?
Yeah, there's a lot of demand to reply in response in Hindi. I'll ask you in English so that you can respond in Hindi, both you and Arvind. The rise of AAP, as you said, it's not good. So, what would be the impact?
This government will give you enough.
Sorry.
नहीं, अच्छा, ये जो सरकार बनी है आपकी, और जो चीफ मिनिस्टर बना है, और जो केजरीवाल का जो असली चरित्र है, गुप्त चरित्र जो उसको हम कहते हैं, वो सब कुल मिलाकर, और जो भूमिका है पंजाब की ऑपरेशन ब्लू स्टार तो इंदिरा गांधी की जबरदस्ती, मैं तो उसको मानता भी नहीं हूँ। मैं ये भी नहीं मानता हूँ कि भिंडरे वाला टेररिस्ट था, ये सब कांग्रेस की साजिश थी, परंतु इसका फायदा पाकिस्तान ने उठाया था। और जो ड्रग्स हैं, जो क्रिश्चियन कन्वर्जन्स हैं, ये सब एक बहुत बड़ा सिचुएशन पैदा किया जिसमें ये लोग सहायक होंगे। ये आम पार्टी इनका फ़ायदा उठाएगी, और इसीलिए हमारी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है उसमें एक बार जब मैं मिनिस्टर था तो मैंने डीएमके गवर्नमेंट को डिसमिस किया था, क्योंकि वो एलटीटी लोगों को खूब खुला छूट दे रहे थे। और मैंने करुणानिधि को वार्न किया था, देखिए तुम्हारा 2/3 बहुमत हो सकती है, परंतु मेरे पास कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, और आप इसको बंद नहीं करोगे तो हम डिसमिस कर देंगे। तो लोग सोचते थे कि इन्हें रथ का यानी बाढ़ आएगी, ये होगी, वो सब, और कुछ नहीं हुआ। पब्लिक ने उसका स्वागत किया। तो आज भी हम लोगों को इसको हाई नोट में रखना चाहिए कि केजरीवाल की सरकार जो है ये देशद्रोही है, और पंजाब में ये सारे आतंकवादियों को, बाहर से आए हुए अफीम के लोग, नारकोटिक्स के लोग, इन सब का, और पाकिस्तान से जो आते जाएंगे उन सब के लिए कुछ छुला छूट देने वाले हैं। क्योंकि मैं जानता हूं कि ये इनका जो पूंछ है कभी सीधा नहीं होगा, और इसीलिए जैसे कहते हैं ना, कुत्ता का पूंछ को सीधा नहीं कर सकते हो, वैसे केजरीवाल का भी पूंछ सीधा नहीं कर सकते हो। तो हमें सतर्क होना चाहिए, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर जो हम कर सकते हैं उसको लिए करना चाहिए। और पंजाब को बचाने के लिए लोगों को पता होना चाहिए कि हमें बाकी लोगों को कि उनको सरेंडर करना नहीं है। वो देशभक्त होने के कारण बुलंदी से अपनी आवाज़ को बोलना चाहिए।
Dr. Swamy and Arvind.
Arvind is going to say something on this.
मेरा थोड़ा इस विषय में थोड़ा रिजर्वेशन है, खासतौर से देशद्रोही के मामले में। मैं नहीं कह सकता कि वो कितना सही है, डॉक्टर स्वामी को ज्यादा जानकारी है, लेकिन मैं इतना जानता हूं कि दिल्ली में जो सिसोदिया ने काम किया है, खासतौर से शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में, मैं पिछले 2 वर्षों से लगातार ये बात कह रहा हूं कि आदर्श शिक्षा मंत्री यदि किसी प्रदेश में हो सकता है तो मनीष सिसोदिया ने काम करके दिखाया है, ग्राउंड पे काम करके दिखाया है। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में आमूल परिवर्तन अगर किसी भी राज्य में मैंने देखा है तो वो दिल्ली में देखा है। और पंजाब की जनता 2 कारणों से उन्होंने इस बार ज्यादा वोट दिया। पिछली बार 20 सीटें आप पार्टी को मिली थी, इस बार 92 सीट्स आई हैं, दैट मीन्स 72 सीटों का फासला है। फ्री, जो सारा कुछ फ्री वो दिल्ली में दे रहे हैं, पानी फ्री, बिजली फ्री। और ये बात उन्होंने महिलाओं को भी बोला कि उनको एक भत्ता दिया जाएगा, हर महिला को घर में 1000 रुपए फ्री। तो वो 50 करोड़ रुपया, 500 करोड़ रुपया साल का कहाँ से आएगा? 50 करोड़ रुपया महीना, ये 500 करोड़ रुपया साल कहाँ से आएगा? ये अब भगवंत मान बताएंगे। लेकिन फ्री का जो नारा दिया था ये बहुत कारगर सिद्ध हुआ। और साथ में जो सिसोदिया की जो दिल्ली में इन्होंने काम करके दिखाया, इसका भी असर हुआ। आगे जो डॉक्टर स्वामी बता रहे हैं, भगवान न करे ऐसा हो कि देशद्रोही हमारे सूबा जो लगता है पाकिस्तान के बॉर्डर से, ऐसे सूबे में कुछ ऐसा असर हो, क्योंकि वो देश के ऊपर व्यापक असर होगा। और पाकिस्तान का जो बहुत बड़ा काम था पंजाब में, वो था ड्रग्स। पूरा ड्रग माफिया जो था वो पाकिस्तान चला रहा था। और चाहे वो अमरिंदर सिंह की सरकार हो, या चाहे अब कई अकाली दल के नेताओं के नाम भी लिए गए, उनके खिलाफ केस भी दर्ज किए गए। कितना सही है कितना गलत है ये जांच सिद्ध करेगी, लेकिन इस पर रोक लगनी चाहिए। और केंद्र को इसमें जहां भी हस्तक्षेप करना है, बहुत जरूरी हस्तक्षेप है केंद्र सरकार का। जरूर सरकार आम आदमी पार्टी की बन गई है, लेकिन केंद्र का इसमें भूमिका कम नहीं होगी।
संविधान है।
जगदीश जी।
डॉक्टर स्वामी अरविंद चतुर्वेदी, खास करके मेरे को अरविंद चतुर्वेदी से ये सवाल है कि बीजेपी जब उत्तराखंड में जीत रही है, वहां के मुख्यमंत्री क्यों हार गए?
गुड क्वेश्चन
अरविंद चतुर्वेदी, जरा इसके ऊपर।
मेरा जहां तक आकलन है, ये व्यक्तिगत हार है, उनकी पार्टी की हार नहीं है। और जो उन्होंने इनफैक्ट सबसे बड़ी घोषणा जो उन्होंने की थी, वो घोषणा थी कि यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड में जिसे जीतूंगा, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड उत्तराखंड में लगा दूंगा। लोगों को पता है कि यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड एक स्टेट में नहीं आ सकता जब तक केंद्र की सहमति नहीं हो, वो केंद्र का काम है। तो उन्होंने ऐसी उल जुलूल जो घोषणाएं की थी, इन घोषणाओं के कारण उनका जो, जैसे कहते हैं, बिग माउथ, तो ही वाज नॉट टेकन सो सीरियसली। और उत्तराखंड में जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी हैं, उनका आकार बहुत छोटा है उत्तर प्रदेश की तुलना में। और छोटा आकार मतलब थोड़े से भी वोट का फर्क पड़े तो 2% 3% बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाता है। तो वो इसके शिकार हो गए। और वहां पे कांग्रेस ने थोड़ा अच्छा प्रचार किया। और लेकिन आप ये देखिए कि जो एमएलए जीते हैं, 47 एमएलए जीते हैं, उनमें योगी धामी की पॉपुलैरिटी कम नहीं है। आज सुबह ये खबर आई है 6 एमएलए अपनी सीट को रिजाइन करने को तैयार हैं टू इनेबल धामी टू कॉन्टेस्ट द इलेक्शन सो दैट ही कैन बिकम चीफ मिनिस्टर। तो उसकी पॉपुलैरिटी उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में कम हो गई है, लेकिन लोग पार्टी में कम नहीं हुई।
Arvind ji, so based on, sorry, go ahead, Jagdish ji, go ahead.
Dr. Swamy, my question to you is, a lot of propaganda is being made against our government, BJP government and the party on an important issue where originally you were responsible to get the VVPAT on the EVM machines as a safeguard. It was your petition which was acknowledged by the Supreme Court, saying that VVPAT should be introduced as a safeguard on EVMs. But now a lot of propaganda is done against the BJP that these victories are a rigged victory. In fact, many people who are bad losers are making this charge about the EVMs. I just want you to tell our viewers what you are feeling on the subject, because a lot of disinformation is being spread.
No, I agree with you. This information is all nonsense, because I am only saying this. Is there a candidate who says, I'm winning, but I've been cheated? Then go and file a thing and say, I want my vote to be counted on the VVPAT. Because VVPAT, you can't say is rigged, because it shows you see it before it goes into the box. So therefore, and you can't change that box because those are all sealed and they're party agents all around. So none of them do it. Not one of them. I've been saying this for the 2014 elections. I've been saying it for 2019 elections. I've been saying this, that if you want to say rigging has taken place, just prove it by opening the VVPAT box. I brought it. In fact, the propaganda was also that I had originally said that EVMs are unreliable. Now I am supporting the EVM. Of course, I am supporting the EVM because the Supreme Court amended it the way I wanted it amended. I told the Supreme Court, if they asked me, it's so convenient to have electronic voting machine, please tell us how we can retain it. So I said, then you introduce what is called the VVPAT and give direction. 3,000 crores were immediately necessary. The Supreme Court ordered that it should be done, and it was not done by the Congress because they were probably going out of power at that time. But as soon as our government came, we gave that money, and VVPAT is now there in every state assembly and all India parliamentary elections. So I will not say no, this didn't happen. I'll say prove it by going and asking for VVPAT counting. File a petition and ask for it, and you will get it. So that is all. And nobody will do it, I can tell you that. They just want to discredit the result.
I have two short questions. Okay, Ramesh, before you proceed. Dr. Swamy,
yes.
Our title was Implications of the Elections on 2024, but I want to amend the question. What is the implication of these results on the governance of the central government and especially on Hindutva issues? I want to have your quick comment. What is the implication of these results on the government and especially on Hindutva issues which are pending before the central government?
Well, see, we are running out of time, so I'll make it very short. First of all, I have been saying from day one, all of you know this, I'm saying that the singular point about the BJP is this Hindutva principle, which makes people rise above caste, region, language, everything, and become one. Today, BJP is there in all parts of India. It has grown, which is something that never happened before, nor did any of us expect it. It is purely because of this open advocacy. By Hindutva, we are not against Muslims. Hindutva is a way of living. And if the Muslims want to live the same way, I mean, after all, we are not saying that you should not read namaz. We are not saying that you should not believe in the Quran. We are only saying that the attitudes, behavior, the constitutional principles, these are all Hindutva principles. The Constitution of India has 90% of Hindutva in it. Only that it's not recognized and not taught that way. So that is what I would say in short, that number one, today you cannot defeat BJP unless you have a alternative Hindutva party. And in 1977, we did not argue on Hindutva, but we came with a more acceptable alternative socialism, democracy, and so on. And we defeated Mrs. Gandhi. But at no place we spoke of nationalism or anything else like that. And after that, Mr. Vajpayee tried to replicate it and got only 2 seats. So we came back and slowly started coming back only because of Ram Janmabhoomi. And then today, this is the way for the BJP, and you have no challenge unless another party with Hindutva, better formulation of Hindutva comes forward.
So, Arvind, a quick question. You said Punjab and AAP and winning formula was freebie. Is freebie the only reason? And why did BJP do so badly?
Yes.
Why BJP
did so badly in Punjab?
Because of first of all, the Hindutva did not play any role in Punjab.
Yeah.
First of all, there's no Ram temple there. In fact, I was just about to say in response to what Jagdish said earlier,
In Hindi, sorry. I'm sorry.
Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura. All the three religious places belong to Uttar Pradesh. And in all the three religious centers, BJP has done much better as compared to 2017. All the three places. Naturally, it just adds to the argument, that which I was earlier saying about Hindutva. Number one. Number two, there is no temple. Temple was never an issue in Punjab. Ram temple was never an issue. In fact, most of the Sikhs, though the Guru Nanak Dev Ji followed Ram also, he mentioned Ram several times in his Guru Granth Sahib, but there was never a controversy between Hindus and Sikhs in Punjab on this issue. Never. So this question of Hindutva, fighting for Hindutva or sacrificing for Hindutva or asserting the Hindutva, that issue was never raised in Punjab in last 10 to 15 years.
No, I understand that, but you're saying freebie is the only reason up one?
No, I'm saying one of the reasons. I'm not saying only reason. I said development.
You said 20 seats to like 80 odd seats.
20 seats, they have gone to 92 seats, 72
That's
seats
a significant
extra.
So what is the formula that BJP could not replicate? That's the reason. Punjab is different. And what was the issue? Obviously, BJP knew already.
Ramesh, BJP has always been in power in Punjab through indirect means with Akali Dal.
That's right. They got used to.
The first time that BJP was in opposition after the Akali Dal broke with BJP. Otherwise, BJP was considered part of establishment. And people of Punjab wanted to teach a lesson to the existing parties who have been in power, both Congress and BJP and Akali Dal. So where is Akali Dal today? That was
that's what I wanted to understand. That's exactly what I wanted to understand. That's exactly what I wanted to understand.
BJP didn't have its own identity in Punjab. That I know for myself.
Okay.
I've seen it.
In fact, I tell you, BJP is alleged to have been, the popular opposition is saying that Baba Ram Rahim was given a parole and he was given jet security in order to campaign, at least give a fatwa for BJP. He did. But even then, BJP lost. So,
badly.
Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. No issue was common. Absolutely.
No, I get that. Punjab is a unique state. I get that point, but
and also in done, we were part of the central government and the farm agitation and 600 people dying. All these were part of the campaign in Punjab.
But interestingly, Dr. Swamy, this farmers' agitation was not reflected in the vote.
UP.
No,
not even in UP.
Not even in UP.
No.
Sentiment. I think Dr. Swamy is coming from a sentiment standpoint.
I'm not talking about which are the parties. It was not an issue between the Arm party and the other parties, but it was a negative factor for BJP.
Yes. और मजे की बात यह है कि लखीमपुर कांड जिसमें एक मंत्री के बेटे ने 6 लोगों के ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ा दी, उस लखीमपुर में 8 विधानसभा क्षेत्र हैं और 8 बीजेपी जीती है। 8 बीजेपी जीती है। तो लखीमपुर कांड का कोई असर नहीं था। हाथरस कांड का पिछले
लखीमपुर कांड का इसीलिए असर नहीं था। लखीमपुर कांड का इसीलिए असर नहीं कि ये जो सारे सेक्युलर वाले हैं, इन्होंने तो ऐसा चित्र बनाया कि आधा झूठ था उसी में, उसमें से डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए।
हाथरस जी, you were mentioning हाथरस too, right, अरविंद जी? आपने हाथरस के बारे में भी कहा था।
हाँ, हाथरस में एक हरिजन बालिका का रेप और मर्डर हुआ था और उसकी जो डेड बॉडी थी वो घर वालों को नहीं देके पुलिस वालों ने जला दी थी फील्ड में ले जाके, और बहुत बड़ा कांड हुआ था। वो कई दिन तक लगातार चला था। हाथरस में भी बीजेपी ही जीती है और न केवल बीजेपी उस विधानसभा में जीती है बट आसपास की सारी सीटें बीजेपी को मिली।
भाई बीजेपी का दोषी था उसमें किसी ने कहा तो नहीं था। पुलिस नालायक थे वो कहा था।
प्रशासन के ऊपर बात आई थी।
प्रशासन
को आरोपित किया गया था।
उसका तो कुछ करना चाहिए जरूर। अभी जो नया सरकार बन रही है, अब तो हमारे जाने पहचाने भी जो चुनकर आए हैं राजेश्वर जैसा, तो उनसे कहना चाहिए इसको उठाइए आप। एनीवे समय का अभाव है, तो जगदीश।
यस अरविंद।
जब मैं डॉक्टर स्वामी, ये इशू इतना लंबा इशू है, जैसे कि मीडिया 10 तारीख के चुनाव के परिणाम आने के बाद से लगातार कह रहा है, तमाम इशू हैं। जगदीश ने जो अभी बात कही कि 2024 में इम्प्लीकेशन क्या होगा, मैं सिर्फ 1 मिनट लूंगा ये बात को खत्म करके राउंड अप करने में। मोदी का विकल्प अभी अपोजिशन पार्टीज में नहीं है। ममता हो, केजरीवाल हो, शरद पवार हो, जगन रेड्डी हो, केसी चंद्रशेखर राव हो, या उद्धव ठाकरे हो, ये 6 जो नेता हैं नॉन बीजेपी नॉन कांग्रेस पार्टियों के, नॉन कांग्रेस इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि मैं राहुल को नहीं गिन रहा इसमें मोदी के विकल्प के रूप में कतई, लेकिन इन 6 नेताओं में भी कोई इतनी ताकतवर नहीं है कि वो अपने दम पे दूसरे को कन्विंस कर सके और उसे नेता मान लिया जाए। अखिलेश इस चुनाव में जरूर एक ताकत बन के उभरे हैं, लेकिन वो सत्ता में नहीं है। तो मैं समझता हूं कि 2024 का कोई परिणाम बहुत दूरगामी परिणाम नहीं होगा। संभवतः जो अभी हमारे पास विकल्प है, हाँ बीजेपी खुद विकल्प पैदा करे तो अलग बात है। मोदी जी 75 वर्ष के हो जाएंगे 2024 में, ये भी इस पे विचार किया जाना चाहिए कि अगर बीजेपी खुद एक विकल्प पैदा करे तो जरूर हो सकता है कि हमारे पास कोई नया नेतृत्व बीजेपी से निकले। लेकिन गैर बीजेपी, गैर भाजपा पार्टियों में, अपोजिशन पार्टियों में कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है कि वो नेतृत्व क्षमता के बल पे या अपनी नीयत के दम पे या अपनी नीति के दम पे या कोई पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क ऐसा ला रहे हैं। कोई विकल्प बीजेपी का भी फिलहाल मुझे नहीं दिखता। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर स्वामी, जगदीश शेट्टी जी, रमेश स्वामी। ये ऐसा एक मुद्दा है और इतने इसमें डायमेंशंस हैं, आयाम हैं, कि एक एक आयाम को भी हम लेंगे तो बहुत लंबा बहस हो सकता है। हमने ज्यादातर आज का बहस उत्तर प्रदेश पे केंद्रित किया था, पंजाब को थोड़ा बहुत डिस्कस किया, गोवा का हमने नाम नहीं लिया, मणिपुर का हमने नाम नहीं लिया, उत्तराखंड को बहुत ही कम समय देके, लेकिन ये चुनाव की विषय है और इसमें बहुत समय चाहिए होता है। तो हमारा सिर्फ ये लिंक था कि 2024 से इन चुनावों के क्या लिंक है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे जो व्यूअर्स हैं हमें लगातार सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। मैं विशेष तौर पर डॉक्टर स्वामी का आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं कि आज हमारे वर्ल्ड ऑफ विजडम ज्ञान गंगा कार्यक्रम ने 150 एपिसोड, 150 episodes have been completed today. We have been doing a weekly show for last about 1.5 years, and the same thank is also due to our technical team. And those viewers who have been watching this program will also notice that over a period of time, in terms of technology, in terms of presentation, in terms of everything that makes a program like this possible, we have been improving. And thanks to our technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Gadgi Rakesh, Swaminathan, Ishwar Iyer, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh, without whom the improvement in 150 episodes would not have been possible. Viewership is swelling, and it is because of of course, the mentorship of Dr. Swamy, but also the presentation of our program. Thanks to entire team for this. We'll continue to present to our viewers this program, Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga, every Sunday, like we have been doing it. Thank you very much for the support. Next Sunday, March 20th, we'll be coming up with another subject and Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Dhanyavad.
Jai Hind. Thank you.